Hey Retro community, how's everyone doing? Today we're going to finally cover this SG ProPad that I picked up a while back. For those that aren't aware, the SG ProPad is basically a third-party Sega Genesis controller that has 6 buttons. However, it's styled in the shape of an SNES controller. And that's something that I've always wanted when I was a kid. I just never managed to pick one up. Found one, allegedly new old stock, so we're going to open it up and see if it actually is new old stock, and then we will test it. So we'll take a look at the box first. Everyone can see what it says here. Crystal clear case, 6 fire buttons, independent auto fire control, semi-hands-free turbo fire slow motion feature, which basically means it repeatedly hits pause, or start in this case. It's effectively turbo mode for the start button. So let's take a look at the back of the case. On the back it goes over, the trigger buttons, the main buttons, directional pad, etc. Nothing really fancy about it otherwise. This is what concerns me about it being new old stock, is that the plastic is open. However, it is old plastic, it's probably shrunk over time, so hard to say. But let's just move on and open it up. So it's in a plastic bag, but the cable is just wrapped around the controller. I don't know if that's how these came or if there was, a twist tie. So it's hard to say if this is actually new old stock or not. Let me take a look at... This is almost definitely not new old stock. I don't know if the camera's going to capture it or not. But if you look close at the pins, you can see a little bit of scratching and scuffs. Unless that's how it came from the factory because of testing and things like that. So, if that's the case, that's a bummer. But it wasn't that expensive anyway, so not too big of a deal. But it's dirty. You can see a little bit there. So this is definitely not new old stock. This is old stock. We'll hook it up to a Genesis and we'll test it. So before we actually go and test the controller, I will go take a little bit of a closer look at the switches and everything. Again, as I mentioned, you've got all of your turbo switches, or in this case, auto fire. And you've got 3 modes. You've got off, slow, and fast. You also have the switches here for the triggers, L and R. And here they're actually labeled off, semi, and auto. And on the back here, you have slow motion, or basically auto fire for the start button, which in most games is pause. And the way that works is it effectively hits start repeatedly to slow the game down. So the mode button, like any other 6-button Genesis controller, switches the controller between 3 and 6-button modes. So in 3-button mode, only A, B, and C work. 6-button mode, X, L, and R, or in this case, Y and Z. So I think it's funny that they label these L and R. They more than likely just reuse the buttons from their Super Nintendo version. So that's why they're labeled as such. Alright, well, let's try out some gameplay and see what this thing can do. And the game we're going to test it out with is WWF Royal Rumble, which you'll see in next month's pickups video. I guess this may be a little early preview. So let's get this game in and see how this controller works. Alright, let's see what this guy can do. It's working. That's a good sign. I don't remember if this game supports 6 buttons or not, so we'll see. If it doesn't, I'll put another game in. Oh, looks like I have slow motion on. Either that or the start button is stuck. Oh, there we go. There's a switch in the back. Looks like this only supports 3 buttons because I'm not getting the other 3 working at all, so... But at least the 3 buttons work. Oh, maybe actually it is working. Hang on. Alright, so I just had to hit the mode button, and now I'm back in 6-button mode, so it's possible that by default it's 3-button mode, or maybe the previous owner had left it on there. See if the turbo function works or not. It's like that's working. So turbo functionality does seem to be working, so and I lost. That's fine. Let's try another game. A game that I know is 6 buttons. Okay, we're going to try Mortal Kombat 2 because I'm pretty sure that supports 6 buttons. Let's see what happens. I do not remember any of the moves whatsoever. Well, it does seem to work, so not very good apparently, but then again, it's hard to play and show the controller off at the same time, so pretty sure I chose easy difficulty level, but whatever, it works. The 6 buttons do work, so that's good. Now, in terms of its feel, it actually feels similar to a standard 6-button Genesis controller, or even due to its size, a standard 3-button Genesis controller, which already is relatively ergonomic compared to like an NES controller. Having the triggers and stuff like that, I don't know if it makes it any easier to play fighting games, for example, but I suppose any other game out there that, would benefit from having triggers would do well. I just don't know what games those are, so that's enough of my wonderful Mortal Kombat skills. Again, what do I think about this? It's okay. I guess I'm kind of glad that Kid Me didn't spend the money on it because it's, in my opinion, not that much better or worse than a standard 6-button Genesis controller would have been. It's more of a novelty thing. I do like the clear case, though. That was definitely the trend back in the 90s. And I guess it's kind of making a comeback now in the retro scene with a lot of clear cases coming out for various consoles. So, but it's not bad. I mean, if you manage to find one and it's something you really wanted, great, go ahead and pick it up, add it to your collection. But it's not something I would necessarily go out of my way for. So, I don't know, if I had to give it a rating, I'd say 3.5 out of 5 stars or whatever. Whatever mechanic you want to use. So that's that. We'll see how this works on the Mega Retro NHD that I picked up a while back. But that's for the next video. Because at that same video, I'm also going to demo off the Genesis multi-cart, as well as a few other things we'll try out. So, but for this video, that's it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Otherwise, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to do so, although there's no obligation. I do appreciate it, but you don't have to. If you didn't like the video, hit the thumbs down. Please leave a comment, though, as to why, so I can try to use that to help make improvements going forward. Thanks all, and I'll catch you later.